food.
Okay, well, hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Bradley Butler. I am the Executive Director and Curator at Main Street Arts in Clifton Springs, New York. Tonight's event is a virtual studio tour with Diana Adams and Courtney Hassmann. And this event is part of a series of online events in conjunction with our exhibition, The Cup, the Mug. Both Diana and Courtney are included in this year's exhibition, which is an online invitational. And this year's show includes 98 cups by 20 artists from 12 states. And I'm just going to share some images while I talk a little bit more about each of these artists. So Diana Adams has a background in fine art and interior architecture and is the owner of Sample House, which offers one-of-a-kind works of art from interior design waste and discontinued marketing samples. She also makes small batch pottery, which has taken the spotlight and is funding her mission to reduce textile waste in the world. And Courtney Hassmann is a ceramic artist. She received her BFA from University of North Texas in 2016. She pinches pots, cries a lot, and loves her pets to death. We had the pleasure of talking to Courtney as part of this past Tuesday's event, the Artist Talk, which also included Brandon Bishop and Mariana Baquero. And we definitely recommend that you also watch that in addition to this one to hear from what Courtney had to say, as well as the other two. You can find that one as well as all other videos that we have done through this series of events on our YouTube channel. And so I think we'll just get right into it. The goal for tonight is to see what happens in these two artist studios. We're gonna hear from both of them just a little bit more about themselves. So Diana, let's start with you.
Yeah, so that was a great intro. My name is Diana, the owner of Sample House. I think my story needs a little bit more explaining because I did start off doing the interior design waste. I used to work at an interior design firm. So I was just surrounded by all of these beautiful fabrics and materials, wood, stone, everything. And I was just seeing all of the waste involved. Like, what if a designer couldn't use all of the fabric, like let's say if it was like not enough to make a pillow, they'll just throw it away. Or if the fabric material got discontinued, they'll go through all of your bins and throw away all the samples that got discontinued. And it's like really good, like hand woven stuff, like silks. I'm just like, ah! So I was becoming a hoarder and I was just collecting all of this stuff. And I literally had like a house of samples. So that's kind of like where like Sample House came from. And so I would pretty much chop it up because they were like tiny pieces. I would chop it up. I would do collages. I make like purses, earrings, which I'm not wearing now. I should be wearing my earrings. But I was doing a lot of like fabric textile stuff. And then I took up pottery in college. And so I fell in love with pottery. Like it was like, I don't know, 8 years back. And then I got really obsessed with it. I bought a wheel. And then once I started working in the field, or just once I graduated college, I'm just like, okay, I can't make any money with this. I have to work. I can't just have fun all the time. And so it was just been this break between like doing my art. I majored in art. I was doing art, figured out I couldn't make money off of it. I started doing retail, and then I wanted to do something more creative again. So I got into interior design because I figured interior design was my creative career. But noticed that it wasn't a lot of creativity. It was a lot of admin stuff and a lot of micromanaging people's expectations. So I started being introduced to the people who would like make the textiles and make the handcrafted furniture. And I got introduced to people who did like hand painted murals. And I'm just like, you guys are artists. Like, you guys are not vendors, because we would call them vendors. And so I got inspired again. So that spark of doing art and creating was pretty much incited by them, just watching them do it and sell themselves. And so I figured I can solve this problem, collect the materials, make something creative, and people would buy it to kind of coordinate with their home type of thing. But then I'm like, okay, so now I'm kind of like, the wheels are clicking. I'm like, okay, I can kind of do my art again because I can think people will want to buy this stuff. So maybe I can incorporate my pottery, maybe put some textiles on my pots, and I can still be sample house. Because I really want to get back in pottery. And so I started doing that. I can show you some pots over there where I started. So I opened up an Etsy shop and I started putting it out there just to kind of see if people were going to bite. And people liked it. They didn't really get it. They're just like, why is there fabric on this pot? Like, I like it, but what if I want to wash it? And like, what if I want to do? I'm just like, okay, yeah, you can't really wash it. Okay, yeah. And then like the pandemic hit, and then everyone's locked up in their houses. So I started my business in 2019. So I was doing it for a year until the pandemic hit, and people started asking me for planters because everyone's buying plants all of a sudden. And they're like, oh, I see you do pottery. I see you have fabric on your pots. That's cool. But can you just make me a pot? Can you just make me a mug? Can you just make me this? And so I just started listening to my audience and just kind of making a shift. So I do a lot of non-fabric things now, but I still want to get back into it. It's taken over, just pots without material. So it's kind of hard to keep marketing myself as sample house, but eventually I'll get back into it. So that's the long story there.
No, that's great. And I think that's just, another example of how, an art career or a creative career of any kind is not like a straight path, right? There's always some other thing that happens or several other things that happen. And actually, I mean, it's just part of kind of the origin story of the name. I mean, I think that's still quite fitting. So
Okay.
yeah, great. Well, thank you very much. And we'll look forward to seeing the studio. And Courtney, and I know we already heard from you at length on Tuesday. So can you just maybe tell us what's been happening in the studio since we talked to you last?
Yeah. So I just unloaded a bisque earlier today, I think. I don't even remember. Maybe it was yesterday. Who knows? But I just unloaded a bisque of a ton of work that I am about to start glazing. And that for me involves a lot of drawing and glazing with like little slip trailers and stuff. So it takes forever. So yeah, I have a bunch of greenware all around, and I'm about to, as soon as I finish glazing them and fire them again, they will be online for everyone to buy. So that's what's going on. Also, my dog is here and she's a little mad at me because it's her dinner time. So, oh, there she goes. Okay, that's it.
Well, that's great. I'm glad to know that we're not the only ones at our house that have dogs that know exactly when dinner time is and breakfast time and snack time.
Yep.
Great. Well, great. Well, so we'll come back to Courtney shortly here, and back to Diana now. And Diana, would you like to take us on a little bit of a tour? And as you go along, we might have some questions for you.
Yeah, let me take you off my tripod. Okay, so, I need to flip my camera. There it is. Everything's weird when it's like horizontal. I don't know where any of the buttons are. So pretty much, okay, so I'm in a live work studio. So this is my living space and it is my studio. So it is a 3-bedroom apartment. So this is the door. So I'm kind of like starting off by the door, but in the front or in the living room, I have my shelving space where I keep all of my finished work. It's looking a little crazy now because I'm like unwrapping things. I just did a market and I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on my website. I have a sale tomorrow for small business Saturday. And so yeah, I'm still kind of like sorting through all that stuff, but I wanted to show you some planters that I did like the fabric on it. And so these are like all of like my little fabric materials that I would like chop up into tiny little pieces and I would like collage them and just do something cool and funky with it. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I think they're pretty neat. This is my wall art that I did like in the beginning. So this is all with fabric materials on plywood. And then my kiln's over here. I did a firing last night. I don't think it's ready yet, but pretty much my kiln is in my living room. I have a venting system. All of my furniture is down there at the bottom. Yeah, that's still too hot. We're not gonna open that. So pretty much this is my shelving unit for when I have things ready to be glazed or if I'm taking things out of the kiln, I'll place it here. So these are like some finished works that I have ready to put on my site. Tomorrow, hot mess. This is my packing area. Pellets on the floor. My Ram Pack station on a folding table. And this is a movable rack that I kind of like carry along with me to my pottery studio, which is in this room. But pretty much anything I'm glazing, like I'm glazing these pots right now, they're upside down because I'm glazing the bottoms of them. But this is actually like overglaze, like real glaze, not underglaze. And I'm gonna carve through it. And I'm just gonna do a one-time firing. So I'm gonna see how that goes. But this is my actual pottery studio. I switched shoes just to kind of like not to track dust everywhere. But I have my shelving with all of my underglazes that I use. I'm a big time Amico and Speedball user. My shelving with all of my current work going on, which is nothing because everything is out there. My wheel, it's a Brent black wheel that's covered in all kinds of clay this is me cleaning. This is as clean as it's gonna get. I only clean the necessary spots and then I just keep working on top of it. My plaster bats or plaster bins with recycled clay going. Junk storage, random stuff, old work I did in school. My wedging table. And then all of my carvings that I save with the underglazing on it. And then I'll eventually recycle this and it'll come out like different colors of gray, either like a taupe or a cool gray or a warm gray. And that makes a nice little pot too. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that you get the award for, merging workspace and living space as one. I think that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
You can never get away from it though, right?
No, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, I forgot to wrap my stuff, which is great. But then also I can wake up and just go straight to work, or I'll just be working until like 2 o'clock in the morning, which is not good either, and never get outside. So I'm trying to balance that out and get outside as much as possible. But the month of November has been very tough for me.
Well, it's almost over, but I don't know how December is going to look for you. So
yeah, I don't know either. Maybe January, we'll see.
Well, I thought it was really interesting, all the little shavings that you save from your, your carving. I mean, that really harkens back to saving all the material scraps, right?
Yeah, I'm a hoarder. I save everything. I even tried to just like fire those and see if I can like clip it to some metal and like use them as earrings, but they're so brittle. They just break even after I fire it. So I'm always
it's-
thinking of different
It's the
things.
same thing with as like if you're a collage artist, say, it's like every little scrap of paper, especially if it's expensive paper, that
Yeah.
turns into something. So I mean, when I saw all those little fabric pieces, I could definitely see why you wanted to save those for sure. I mean, not
Yeah.
only for the waste reasons, that these things are
Mhm.
going into a landfill, but also just they're so cool.
Mhm. Super cool.
Yeah. And I think so before we go and take a look at Courtney's studio, so the work that we have from you, I mean, at least from what we saw kind of a few different kind of
Yeah.
bodies of work, right? So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about how you do the surfaces for the pots that you had in the exhibition?
Yeah. So I have, I believe, my two of them sold, and then I have my
Yeah.
Rasta still here. So this is my splash collection. So pretty much, I don't know. I just love color. I'm obsessed with color. Um, and when I first started doing, even when I started pottery in school, I was always upset with um, the way the glazes, like the regular glazes, will come out. They're very like mute. They're muted tones. They're not as vibrant. Like where are the vibrant glazes? Like how do I get that bright red? How do I get that bright yellow? They're like, oh, those usually have lead in it, and those are toxic. And I'm just like, oh. And so I got introduced to underglazes. I'm like, okay, what I see, I need to know what's going to come off the kiln. I don't want a surprise. I don't want a flash of red if it's reducted and all this other stuff and next to something else. I don't want any of that. So I got obsessed with underglazes. And then when I started doing my own work, I started with the single colors. I'll flip my camera again, or I'll just show it. So I started with just single colors and just doing these patterns, these African inspired patterns with it. But I wanted more color, like more color blocking. And I'm not a patient person, so I don't really see myself using tape to like block out lines, and I don't have time for that. And so I'm like, if I want multiple colors, I'm just gonna throw that shit on and I'm just gonna splash it. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna bring back my artistic side, because I'm a painter too. I paint, I sculpt, I do everything. And so I just started slinging on there. I'm like, oh, I like this. And yeah, that's pretty much how it started. So it started with the splash, and then I'm like, okay, I still like carvings and patterns. And so even now I took it a step further. Okay, now I really need to flip. So I'm starting to do the splash and carve at the same time.
Oh, that's really cool.
So yeah, it just keeps evolving. And so it might be a splash with a carving and with some fabric. Who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. But I think that's the fun part of the journey.
Yeah, definitely. And so that the cup you held up earlier, anyone watching, that could be yours.
This can be yours. First rendition. And then I have matching planters right there on the side to go with it too.
And then those can be purchased on your site tomorrow, right? You said?
Yeah, those will be on my site tomorrow.
Great. Awesome.
Kwanzaa's is coming. You got all the colors right here.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you, Diana, for the tour. And I think we'll go to Albuquerque now and see what's happening in Courtney's studio.
All right. Hello, welcome to my studio. A little introduction to the studio first. It is my garage, and I share it with my roommate, who is also a full-time potter. So it's, yeah, nothing fancy, just a garage, but it works. There's no windows, but we get to open the big garage door whenever the weather's nice. My dog's gonna be following me around because I'm giving her treats. So I'm also trying to figure out how to flip the camera. Okay, there it is. All right. So these are my 2 work tables. That's where I pinch all of my pots. I don't have a wheel because I pinch everything. So it's just on those 2 tables. This is all work just out of the bisque that I'm about to draw all over and decorate. Here's my dog. All my tools and stuff. There's the kiln. It currently has a bunch of my roommates' pots in it. We're doing a bisque. That's my prized possession, the Titanic poster. It's very important for the studio. There's the dog bed. Here's a bunch of other stuff that I do. I've been working with colored clay recently and pinching them together into different patterns. That's how I do the checkers and stuff. So those I don't draw all over, so they just get sanded and then a clear glaze inside of it. And then I have shelves over here with, here's a couple finished pieces that I've kept. Just it's usually like the cracked ones that I keep, of course, but some finished work. There's my dog. Here's glaze stuff. I use commercial glazes. So it's a bunch of just random ones I've collected that I like the colors of. A lot of Spectrum. I really like the Spectrum glazes. And then I use underglaze pencils and stuff. And then my studio mate has a pug mill, which I never use, but it's kind of exciting. There's our washer and dryer, also very exciting. And yeah, that's about it, really. I do all of my colored clay in all of these buckets down here. So there's that. And here's my dog again. And that's it. The humble garage studio.
That's cool. Living room studio and a garage studio. This is great in one night. I mean, what else can we ask for, honestly?
Yeah, anyone can do it.
And I think this is the second garage studio that we've seen on these tours. I think Sam Chumley has a garage studio as well. Yeah. And so some of the work where you're using the colored clay, can you talk a little bit about that process? I mean, is it like it's the same clay body, but you've just, colored it with like, what are you coloring it with?
Yeah, so I make a bunch of work with my white clay body. I use B mix, so it's kind of off-white, but I make a bunch of work with that, and then I save all the scraps, and I dye it. I stain the clay with mason, and then it's kind of a weird technique that I made up myself, but for the checkers, I roll up little balls of clay and I like stack them together, and then I pinch them. So I just kind of squish it all together. If anyone wants to see that, I do have videos on my Instagram, so you can watch it, because it kind of makes sense when I say it out loud. But yeah, so it's all just the same clay body colored with different mason stains.
Cool. And then, how I guess, is there like a certain ratio that you have that you like to say, I'm going to do this many checkered ones and this many I'm going to draw on? Or is it just like, I mean, because that's got to be a purposeful decision that you make, like, I'm going to make this with all these different, colors or not. I mean, how do you figure that out?
Yeah, I usually do a pre-order for the checkered ones. So then I know how many to make, and I always like cap it at like, because they are like kind of time consuming and hurt my hands a little bit. So I kind of cap it at like 10 at most per batch. And then I make sure to save some of the colored clay so that I have enough of the colored ones to draw on. And then I use the rest to kind of mash together into different colors and patterns. So it really just depends on how much of the colored clay that I make, which I usually do like 2,000 grams dry. And then I just divvy it out in that because everyone kind of knows me for the drawings and the words and stuff. So I mostly do those. And then I do the other ones for fun, mainly because I like them.
Well, I think that's important too.
Yes, important to my sanity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great. Well, I think I think that this has been great to see both your studios, and you know, if any, do either of you have any last minute well, I guess you both have things going on. I mean, I know Diana, you kind of mentioned your sale you have tomorrow, and Courtney, you kind of mentioned a little bit of the being update, but if you both want to plug that and tell people where they can see things in addition to the work that's in the show, that'd be great too. You want to go? Who wants to go first?
Diana.
Okay. So my sale will be tomorrow, Small Business Saturday. It's going to be 7 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. And what else? My website is sample.house. That's also my Instagram. Or if you're just freaked out about typing in sample.house in the web browser, you can go to mysamplehouse.com and then go to the shop and it'll link you to my shop. But yeah, I'm gonna have a lot of cool stuff on there. Some planters, mugs, little trinket dishes, utensil holders, all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool. And Courtney?
Yeah, my sale is going to be on my website. I don't have a date picked out. It's kind of just whenever I finish glazing, which usually takes like a week or so. But the best way to follow up on that is to follow me on Instagram, or you can go to my website, which is just my first and everything for me is my first and last name. So it's pretty easy to find. So I have a website and an email list. You can sign up to get the email of when things go online. And yeah, it'll be as soon as my hands can get going.
Well, great. Well, we'll let you get back to it, and also to be able to feed the dog a proper meal.
Thank you, Shooter.
Poor dog.
And just to remind everyone out there, the Cup the Mug runs through next Saturday, which is December 3rd. And you can see all the available work on the website, mainstreetartscs.org, especially those two cups there, a cup and a mug, the Rasta cup and Rasta mug. I think you could drink tasty beverages out of either of those, definitely.
Yes, for sure.
So while you're there, you can learn more about these two artists, as well as the other 18 artists in the show. Great artists in this year's show. So definitely, if you have not been to check it out yet, please do so. And we just have one more event left. It's next Friday, and it's with Sierra Matsuo and Luann Wilson. So we're looking forward to seeing what's up with them. They have a new studio space they're opening together. So we're gonna be able to get a peek inside. So thank you both for joining us tonight, and have good time in that studio.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah.
Bye.
We'll see you later.